Hello everyone and welcome to today's lesson. In this lesson we're going to start working with queries. First of all, what is a query? Query is simply a request for data or calculations. We're going to start with the most simple and basic query, which is a select query. In order to do that, simply go to the Create tab here and click on Query Design. All right, so in order to query something, we need to add a table, and we're going to add our first table, which is client list. So simply select that table and click add. All right, so table is now added and we have all our fields in the table. And as you can see at the top here, we have different query types. We have select, make table, append, update, cross tab, and delete, as well as the other ones. In this lesson, we're just going to cover the select query. What this select query allows us to do, it allows us to select certain fields or data from the table without modifying it. So we're just going to extract pieces of data from our tables. We're not going to change the table, we're going to keep it the same, but we're just going to extract various types of data from the table. So first of all, I have all my fields here. If I want to add all of them, I simply hold Shift and I click on the first and the last one and I drag it down here to the working area. All right, so now all my fields are here. We have a show row here which says show. Do I want to show it or do I not want to show it? In this case, of course, I want to show it. And in order to run it, simply click on the run button here. All right, and so it looks like a regular table that we had in the past. It has all our information, account numbers, addresses, client names. But what we can do here is we can start modifying this data and actually making the query more specific. So I'm just going to go to the view or design in some cases. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to see some of the data only. I'm going to delete discount and credit card information. And this is usually done if you want to produce a report or if you want to see less data because there's too much information on the screen. So now I only have 5 fields, and let's try and run it again. All right, and this is what comes back, only 5 fields. Once again, although 5 fields are returned, the table remains the same. So if I go ahead and I open this table, client list, I can see that it has much more than 5, right? It has all the fields, but the query only has 5 fields that we selected, right? So all you're doing is we're selecting certain fields and selecting certain data, and that is why this query is called a select query. All right, so I'm just going to go back and design it a little bit more. Now I have a criteria row here. What allows me to do is it allows me to filter data above or below a certain amount, or pretty much allows me to enter a filter. So for my total orders, I think I have orders from 4,000 to 99,000. Let's say I only want to see certain orders in this query. I just want to analyze it a little bit more or for some other reason. So I'm going to click on the criteria field and type in more than 50,000. Okay, so feel free to pause this video at any time if you need to enter information or follow along. All right, so I'm gonna go and run it. And as you can see, in terms of the number of fields, I only have 8 rows here. In my table, I have 19, but because I asked Microsoft Access to return results for total orders for 50,000 or more, it is only returning 8 results to me. Okay, so this is one of the filters that you can do. So I'm gonna design it again or view it again. And I'm going to try and use the OR criteria here. So let's say I want to see orders that are greater than 80,000 and less than 20,000. So I want to show either or. I don't want to show all of them, but I want to show either or in this query. And this is how you enter data. If it's or, just enter it on another row and that should work. So I'm going to go and run it again. And now I have 12 fields. So we asked for more than 80 and less than 20. And it looks like it's working out. So I have 12 records instead of my full record set, 19 records. So it's working pretty well in terms of filtering and returning data. All right, so let's go back and play with other information here. So I have my discount column, and this column is basically tells me whether or not a customer is receiving a discount or not. And it is a text column. So total orders column was related to numbers. And I'm just going to delete the filter for now. Discount column is based on text, right? It's either yes or a no. So if I go to my client list here, it tells me whether or not a customer is receiving a discount, yes or no, right? But let's say I only want to see customers who are receiving a discount and just ignore the no's. What I can do here is I can enter yes in the quotation marks. This is how you work with text. You always enter it in the quotation marks and you go ahead and save it. It says, how do you want to save it? Query 1. I'm fine with that. I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to go to my design tab here and I'm going to run it. All right. So Microsoft Access returns all the yeses to me, right? And this is what I wanted to see. I only wanted to see the yeses. Once again, the table is not modified. We're just extracting data. In this case, I got 12 records. All right. You can also play with it and enter no's. You should get 7 records for that. So stop this video at any time and try that out. Now, next thing I want to show you is what if we have multiple conditions? How do we use multiple filters at the same time? Right? What if I want yeses, but only those yeses that are over 80,000? Okay. So in order to do that, you have to enter the criteria on the same line. So here I have a yes for the discount, and I want all the customers who ordered more than 80,000 in the last 5 years. All right. So we have 2 conditions running at the same time. This is an AND condition for the criteria. So I enter that. I'm going to go and run it. And as you can see, I have much less in terms of records, which makes sense because the conditions are more restrictive. So I have my discount, yes, and it has to meet the total orders criteria over 80,000. And Access is returning 3 records to me. All right. I can also enter no and as well as other criteria here. So let's try it and enter no. And run it. And so I have 3 records as well, meeting 2 conditions at the same time, right? All right, so that's the AND condition for the criteria. You can also use it as an OR condition or operator for different filtering criteria or select criteria, right? So all you have to do, instead of entering it on 1 line, enter it on 2 lines. So let's say I want to see all the no's, or I want to see anything that is over 80,000. So it's an OR condition in this case, right? I'm going to go and run this one as well, just to give you an example. So I have all the no's that I filtered, right? So I got all my no's. Let me just sort it here. I'm going to go and sort it in the ascending order. So first of all, I got all my nodes, which is great. And then I said, give me anything over 80,000, right? So I have these three records, which are yeses, and they are over 80,000, right? Which is working for me. So I said either yes or no, but it must be over 80,000. This is how you use OR when it comes to the select query. So once again, I think it takes a bit of practice when it comes to working with the select query. You now know how to use AND and OR, and how to use greater than or less than when it comes to numbers, and how to filter text. So go ahead and try it yourself. This is it for today's lesson, and thanks very much for watching.